In this video, we'll be going over how to set up a Management Vlan. A Management Vlan is good for when you want to remote access into any one of your networking devices. So here, our Management Vlan is going to be VLAN 88, and we'll also have a user VLAN, which will be user VLAN 20. We'll put the user VLAN on the 172.16.20.0 network, and our management VLAN will be the 192.168.0.0 network. We'll be using router on a stick, so we'll have sub interfaces and VLANs on all of our switches. All three switches will remain layer 2, and the only layer 3 device will be our router. The connection from the router to the cloud is just to simulate a WAN link. So let's go ahead, turn our interfaces on our router. Start with serial 000. Not too concerned with an IP address on the serial interface. We're mainly concerned with just our LAN. So interface F00, and no shut that port. So F00 needs to be no shut in order to create sub interfaces for F00. We'll interface F00.20 for our VLAN 20. Encapsulation .1Q 20. IP address 172.16.20.254/24. And that will be the gateway for our user VLAN. Now, we also want to create the management subinterface, which will be .88, encapsulation .1Q, the VLAN tag of 88, and we're going to put native on this one. In order for our switches to be able to ping the router over VLAN 88, they will have to have a native VLAN of 88. IP address 192.168.0, and we'll use the first usable .1. Okay. Let's go ahead and trunk all of our ports from our switches to our router, starting with the multi-layer switch. Interface F01, switch port trunk, encapsulation .1Q. Interface, actually, let's go ahead and make it a trunk port now. Switch port mode trunk. Interface F02, switch port trunk encapsulation .1Q, switch port mode trunk, and lastly F03, switch port trunk encapsulation .1Q, switch port mode trunk. Good. Now we might start getting errors because of the native VLAN mismatch. Let's go ahead and interface F01. Actually, let's interface range F01 through 3. and let's type switch port trunk native VLAN 88. Now, that does not create a VLAN 88 for us, so we'll have to remember to create our VLANs as well. VLAN 88 and VLAN 20. And we got an inconsistent local VLAN on port F03. Go into the switch on the bottom. It's because of the native VLAN mismatch. Let's go to F02. Enable, let's go global, interface F02, switch port mode trunk, switch port trunk native VLAN 88. Let's create VLAN 88 and let's create VLAN 20. Same thing for the bottom switch. Interface F03, switch port mode trunk, switch port trunk native VLAN 88. And we get a message saying that the port consistency is restored. Unblocking F03 on VLAN 88. Good. We still need to create our VLANs on the bottom switch. So configure T VLAN 88 and VLAN 20. There we go. Now we are going to go ahead and create SVIs on our switches for our Management Vlan. So interface VLAN 88 for the middle switch, IP address 192.168, and this will be the second usable .2, 255.0. The switch on the left will be the third usable, interface VLAN 88, IP address 192.168, 0.3, and the switch on the bottom will be the fourth usable. Interface VLAN 88, IP address 192.168.0.4.0. Now, can we ping from the bottom switch to the middle switch? Can we ping 0.2? Yes, we can. Can we ping 0.1? We can. Switch on the left. Can we ping 192.168.0.1? Wonderful. And it's safe to assume that the middle switch can do the same as well. Now we want to be able to ping the router at least from our devices because that's where the routing will take place between the user VLAN and the management VLAN. So when we have a laptop connected to VLAN 20, we want the laptop to be able to SSH into any one of these devices. So, can the switch on the left ping the user VLAN? 172.16.20.254. And it cannot. let's look at the reason why it can't ping that network yet. Show IP route. Since it's a layer 2 device, it does not have a routing table like the router. Show IP route. And even our multi-layer switch shows an empty routing table. Default gateway is not set. The cache is empty. Can the multi-layer switch ping 172.16.20.254? That is negative. So let's go ahead and use another command in our switches. IP default gateway, and let's make the gateway the router Management Vlan interface 192.168.0.1. Now if I show IP route, I see the default gateway is 192.168.0.1. And if I try to ping 172.16.20.254, I have a success, because now I have a default route going to the router. We'll do this on the layer 2 switch. IP default tech gateway 192.168.0.1. If I do show IP route, I still get an invalid input, question mark on IP, and there is no show IP default gateway. That's okay. We configured an IP default gateway. Let's try to ping now the 172.16.20.254, and there's success. Lastly is the bottom switch. IP default gateway 192.168.0.1. I should also be able to ping the 172.16.20.254 network. Good. Now we will configure SSH on all of our devices. So, first thing to do is to configure a host name. A host name is necessary in order to generate our RSA keys. IP domain name. Management Lab. IP SSH version 2. Please create RSA keys to enable SSH version 2. So crypto key generate RSA general keys modulus 2048. SSH2 has been enabled. Now into our VTY lines, line VTY 015, transport input SSH, and then login local. That'll tell it to look for one of our local usernames and passwords. So we'll also need to configure that. Configure username Mgmt privilege 15 secret, and our secret password will be lab. Now we have SSH configured on the router. We'll do so on all of our switches. Okay, 2 more switches. One more switch. Good. Now that we have SSH configured on each switch, we should be able to SSH into every single device from one of the devices, or I can connect a laptop to my user VLAN and try to SSH into my devices that way. So from switch 3, I'll interface F01, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. Come down here, bring a laptop to my local area network, connect from fast Ethernet 0 to fast Ethernet 01. Come to the IP configuration, 172.16.20.1/24, and 254 is that gateway. Good. From the command prompt of the laptop, we'll ping the router first, 172.16.20.254. Good, we can ping the gateway. Now let's try to ping the Management Vlan .1 Yes. Dot 2. Good. Dot 3. Yes. And dot 4. Yes. Now we shall try to SSH into each of our devices. SSH TAC L username Mgmt, IP address. This should be the router. It'll ask me for the password. And I am now SSH into router 1. Exit, close the connection. Now for the multi-layer switch, password, switch 1. Exit, 3, switch 2, and now SSH into the fourth usable, which is switch 3. And there you have it. That's how you configure a management VLAN for remote access in your local area network.